Sports.
We are Black Force. We are Sun Force.
The Rays bats have come to life versus the Rangers, blasting 6 home runs and scoring 20 total runs, taking 2 of the first 3 games versus Texas. Today, right-hander Jake Odorizzi goes to the hill as Major League Baseball celebrates Mother's Day. And honoring their moms, the players will be adorned in pink. We welcome you to Tropicana Field this afternoon, where everyone in attendance and all across the land will be celebrating a very special day. And to all the moms, we say Happy Mother's Day as the Rays take on the Texas Rangers. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an afternoon of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you looking in. Well, the Rays winners last night. In fact, over the last 4 games, the Rays have seen an offensive revival, 24 runs in the last 4 contests.
And a big reason why Evan Longoria has got the power stroke going. You know, this is a guy over the last 2.5 weeks or so who's been scorching hot, but the power has started to show up in his last 3 games, 6 out of 10. But the 3 home runs, the 6 runs driven in, that's why you believe that this recent offensive surge can continue, because he's got the quick twitch going, the quick bat, especially this shot last night, that ball down and out over the plate, and he takes it out to dead center field. Martin gave up on that ball, knew it was way gone. So if you can keep Evan Longoria hot in the middle of that lineup with the power stroke, this offense will keep humming right along.
See, Evan Longoria got that home run stroke going, and the Rays hope to carry that into the final game of this series. Pink will be, if not the dominant, the evident number, the evident color, and the consistent color of the day here at Tropicana Field. And Todd Callis will have more on Mother's Day when we return.
Rangers on this Sunday afternoon, Mother's Day 2015, wrapping up a 4-game series. The Rays players and the Rangers players and throughout Major League Baseball will be hitting baseballs with pink bats, wearing pink wristbands, pink ribbons on their uniforms. Jake Odorizzi has the all-pink cleats today on this Mother's Day as baseball in their 10th year of going to bat against breast cancer, supporting Stand Up to Cancer and Susan G. Komen. Here are some Mother's Day wishes from the Rays clubhouse.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and especially to my mom. I love you so much. I hope you have the best day in the world.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I wouldn't be here without you. I appreciate everything you've done for me in the past, for our family, for me, myself, my 2 older brothers, and my dad as well. And just sending this video out of appreciation. I love you to death, and wouldn't be here without you.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there watching, and a special Happy Mother's Day to my mom, Patsy, and my wife, Emily. Love you guys.
We'll check in with Kevin's mom, Patsy Cash, during the game as the Rays get ready to take on the Texas Rangers. So all you moms out there, kick back and enjoy all the action of Rays baseball right around the corner as Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson have the call next on Sun Sport.
Back at Tropicana Field, Jake Odorizzi heads to the mound on this Mother's Day. Odorizzi set to make his 7th start of the year. He's been such a big part of this rotation and the success story of the Rays pitching so far. Let's take a look at the Texas lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Shin-Soo Choo is going to lead it off, followed by Elvis Andrus, and then the DH is Prince Fielder. Adrian Beltre hits cleanup. Kyle Blanks in first. In left field, Carlos Pagaro. Leonis Martin in center. Carlos Corporon will do the catching, batting 8th. And Adam Rosales, the number 9 hitter, at second base again today.
Well, taking the mound this afternoon for the Tampa Bay Rays. Right-hander Jake Odorizzi making his 7th start of the season, 3-2 record, 2.21 earned run average. A couple of things to take a look at here. Just 8 walks on the season in 40 2/3 innings. And that opponent's average at 190. That is good enough for 4th in the American League. In fact, the Rays have 3 starting pitchers in the top 4 in that department. They know how to avoid bats. Let's take a look at the Rays defense as it's going to line up behind Jake this afternoon. In the outfield left to right, we have Brendan Geyer, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Asdrubal Cabrera, Tim Beckham, and Logan Forsythe. Rene Rivera will be behind the plate.
Logan Forsythe down at first base. He has been all over that infield for the Rays and extremely capable at every spot. And in the lineup, he's even hit cleanup, as he will again today. More on that in the bottom half of the first. And here is Shin-Soo Choo stepping in to lead it off. Jake Odorizzi all set. The first pitch of this game is a ball inside. First pitch presented by Pitcher Penny. And we are underway. Foul back. So it's 1-1. And Jake Odorizzi has been under the weather. Skipped last night, his normal turn in the rotation. Picks up a strike, and it's 1-2. And answering the bell this afternoon, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, he understands that the team needs him, so he's going to give it all he's got.
And there's strike 3 call, a fastball in the upper reaches of the zone.
And we've already seen here the first 4 pitches to Choo, all fastballs between 87 and 90. Now that's a couple of ticks down from where we normally see Jake early in a ball game, and that's why today concentration level will be of the utmost. Really concentrating on hitting his spots, moving that ball around the zone like he always does.
Here's Elvis Andrus. The pitch is a strike. Not a lot of at-bats in this Texas lineup against Odorizzi. Choo, who just struck out, was 2 for 10. There's strike 2 to Andrus. Choo now 2 of 11, and Andrus 1 out of 6 with a double. The only extra base hit off Odorizzi in the Texas lineup. And Martin with 5 at-bats. He's 2 for 5. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, that's been something that's really helped Jake out in his first 6 starts, is staying away from that extra base hit. You wonder why he's off to a good start. There's a lot of reasons why, but not giving up extra base hits a big part of it.
2-2. Andrus had a hit last night, hitting .230 overall for the year. The tapper to third. Longoria makes the throw to first. The 2 up and 2 down. Well, that's one thing Odorizzi should have going for him here. The Rays defense has been so good. The guy who's been under the weather, you don't want him to make any more pitches than he has to. So if they can cut down on any extra outs that they would give this Texas lineup, that would be to the benefit of Odorizzi as well. And boy, the Rays have done a great job of that so far this year.
Yeah, their defense has been across the board outstanding. We've seen a lot of different defensive alignments. You think about Forsythe. He's at first base today, was at third base the last couple, playing second base the majority of the early part of the season. Bodies moving around, plays always getting made.
Strike to Prince Fielder. Fielder with a 9-game hitting streak and an average of .342, .361 for the life of the streak. And that's a strike on the inside part of the plate.
Well, I like these right here, the little split changeup, and he's able to keep this one in the zone, right at the bottom of the zone. And see if he tries to take that pitch just a little bit lower here and get a chase from Fielder.
A little tap over the mound. Cabrera makes the play. Fielder's out of there. 1, 2, 3, go the Texas Rangers. We're coming in to the bottom of the first. No score. Look, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Brandon Guyer is going to lead it off in left, followed by Steven Souza Jr. and Evan Longoria in the third spot. And Logan Forsythe hitting cleanup in front of Joey Butler, the DH. Then Asdrubal Cabrera, Tim Beckham, Kevin Kiermaier, Rene Rivera completing the Rays lineup.
Taking the mound this afternoon for the Texas Rangers, left-hander Wandy Rodriguez making his fourth start. He was recalled from Round Rock on April the 24th. 1-1, 3.12, coming off a tremendous start against the Astros. 8 innings, giving up just 1 earned run.
Brandon Guyer takes the first pitch up and away. Guyer hitting .292, getting another start in the leadoff spot against the lefty. A little piece of that one, and he fouls it. 1-1. Last time the Rays faced Rodriguez, he was pitching for the Astros. Into the hole, deep short. The throw by Andres. Out the call. Andres had to go into the hole and a couple of steps onto the turf to make that play.
And he didn't have a whole lot of time either. He's got to get rid of this ball quickly. That's why he uses the turf here. This becomes a two hopper. 1, 2, and a stretch by blanks, and they get Brandon Guyer by, I mean, less than half a step. That foot's coming down as the ball's into the glove. They just did get him.
So an outstanding play by Andres, who has had some defensive issues this year, and coming off last year, not the kind of year that they had hoped that they would get from him, because he was an outstanding infielder.
Well, he signed that big extension that actually goes into effect this year, and he came into spring training last year not in the best of shape and just got off to a slow start, and it translated into the season. So looking to make amends, and that was a heck of a play. Good internal timing in that head of his.
And overall, the Rangers defense, particularly on the infield, has been an issue. Souza's out on strikes. 2 up and 2 down. 2 quick outs here in the first. Will get Evan Longoria to the plate. Evan now hitting .304 with 4 home runs. And coming off of last night's performance, that matchup against lefties, even better, 10 for 19. That's the Buick big matchup. He fouls the first pitch away, strike 1.
We need to get a little bit of math, because 10 out of 19 is a .526 average. What's the on base percentage with the 8 walks? I mean, you're going to be approaching 700 plus in that range. That's absurd.
Behind 0-2.
There it is.
You want it? There it is. It's approaching 7.
Approaching. Pretty good on base percentage right there.
It's a ball and 2 strikes. Evan connecting in the first, hitting a 3-run home run to center field last night off Ross Detweiler. Two and 2. Ground ball and a strikeout so far. Caps a little curveball.
Well, here's the other thing. You know, you talk about how important he is to this ball club and this offense. His offensive numbers really started to pick up about 2.5 weeks ago, and over the last 16 games or so, hitting .390. But those 16 games, the Rays 11-5. It just translates. If he's swinging the bat, the Rays are going to win a whole lot more than they lose.
And he's reaching for one and pops it to the right side. Rosales has to back up and fall down and hang on. Boy, you talk about a difficult time on what you would ordinarily classify a routine popper. But this anything but routine for Rosales. No score through 1. Canterfield. No score. At the end of 1. Adrian Beltre leads off against Jake Odorizzi, who made 13 pitches in the first. And he drops a strike in there to begin this at bat for Beltre. 0-2.
You know, when you see the line of Adrian Beltre with the low average, the on-base percentage at whatever, 267, whatever it was, you disregard those numbers because you know what he's capable of. And he may not be hitting well now. He may not have hit in his stride, but he's got a track record, and it's an 18-year track record. Those numbers part of it. So you understand that you still got to make your pitches against this guy.
Fly ball carries back to left where Geyer is there to make the catch. And him out in front.
Well, I'll tell you, you got to almost tip your hat there to Adrian Beltre for even putting that ball in play. That was a good split there by Jake, and Beltre able to go down and not only make contact but line that thing out to left field. Watch the finish on the pitch and the swing by Beltre to get there.
Yeah, it's a good thing he was out in front as much as he was.
You flip that one right into the seats.
Blanks takes the pitch too low. Kyle Blanks playing first base. One and one. Odorizzi coming off the outing against the Boston Red Sox on Monday, working 7 innings of 1-run, 7-hit baseball. He's behind Blanks, 3-1. What Blanks in this series has really worked a lot of deep counts. See the line for Odorizzi in that last outing. And a full count.
Here we go. There's been some at-bats where he's looked completely overmatched early in the at-bat, first couple of pitches, and then all of a sudden he goes into that mode where he's been able to foul off a lot of pitches, a lot of quality pitches, extend at-bats.
And he's out on strikes. Strikeout number 2 for Odorizzi.
Picks up the strikeout on the 6th pitch. Considered a success. He drills this pitch to the outside corner, and Blanks just cannot get out there far enough.
Well, here is Carlos Pagaro. And with the power that's in this Texas lineup, you look at Fielder and Beltre. Right now, Pagaro leads the team in home runs, and he bunts. Nice pickup on a sliding attempt by Odorizzi on the bunt. And Pagaro, who leads the team in home runs, looking at that defense, puts down a bunt.
Boy, you talk about the Texas Ranger offensive woes. He leads the team in home runs, and it's all come in the last 5 games. Those 4 home runs. And he lays down the bunt there. You figure with 2 outs, nobody aboard, that he would take a rip. Instead, he drops down a bunt, another hit.
Well, you've got a guy with some big-time pop. And Rivera out to the mound to take a little time, it would appear, for Odorizzi. You can just see in Odorizzi's face, it's a struggle for him to be out there.
You follow the Rays, you know that is not the norm, and having to make that quick break off the mound, trying to make a sliding play by the third base line, that's exactly why Rivera was out there.
Martin fouls it back, strike 1. Leonis Martin, 0-1. Kevin Cash looking on from the Rays dugout. There's a starting pitcher who was ill yesterday, passed up his normal turn, and taking the ball this afternoon. Martin missing a changeup, 0-2. Low. Frankly, that's been something that goes around a clubhouse from time to time. You know that Longoria was under the weather. Odorizzi.
Usually that's something that you see in spring training when everybody comes from all different parts of the country, other countries, and they all congregate. That's usually when it sweeps through. You don't typically see that too much during the season.
Runner takes off, and a base hit into right for Martin. Pagaro goes to third. It'll be first and third with 2 outs in the 2nd inning.
Number 3, Carlos Corporal.
Well, this pitch, well, you can see right there, just stays up, belt, middle, runner going. Martin finds an open hole on the right side. And the Rangers with a little 2-out threat.
We've had a couple series this year where the opposition has had that. I think the Blue Jays went through some of that in one of those series. A couple other teams.
Well, you think about the close quarters. You guys are here at the field early every day, and everybody's together all day long. On the plane, in the clubhouse. You bring in a nasty bug, and it will find its way around. And in the Rays case, some of the guys have swept it up twice.
Carlos Corporon, the catcher. It's a fly ball into left. Geyer is there to catch it. That takes care of Texas. They strand two. No score through an inning and a half.
Mothers out there, there's no way any of us in this clubhouse would be where we are without you guys, and definitely a special Mother's Day shout out to Lindsay, my wife, and just thank you for being a great mother.
Mom, thank you so much for everything you've done for me my whole life, throwing wiffle balls my whole life, and getting me locked in our backyard, and just supporting me each and every day. I love you so much, and I can't thank you enough.
So happy Mother's Day to all the moms. The tributes continue here at Tropicana Field. Logan Forsythe leads it off and takes the first pitch high. Logan in the cleanup spot again for the Rays. 12 runs batted in, a couple of home runs. Lifts it into center field, and Martin is there to make the catch. One away.
Yeah, I was able to catch up with my mom today during after their dinner, which, by the way, I would call their dinner an event. My dad really went all out today.
Did he?
For Mom. Yeah, taking her out.
To an iconic spot.
An iconic spot. You know,
that's the way he rolls.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, by iconic spot, you mean Eddie's Grill on the boardwalk, Geneva on the lake.
There you go. On the lake.
Yeah.
Iconic spot on the lake. What do you want?
I think they had a foot long and maybe a fish sandwich. Happy Mom's Day.
But the wait staff, quality wait staff.
It is a cool place.
Yeah.
It's a 50s style diner. All the high school kids work there. White T-shirt, white paper hat. It's like Happy Days. Going to Archie's.
There you go.
Without the Fonz.
See, it's an event.
Oh, it was an event.
A very special day.
Very special day. She was thrilled. Easy.
A tap to the right side. Rosales, the second baseman, takes care of that. Joey Butler is retired.
Tell you, Adam Rosales plays a pretty interesting second base, doesn't he?
He does. He almost got into a little dust-up last night with Cabrera. He had a little interesting routine on a pop fly yesterday, and already won today.
Even the way that he fielded that ground ball and threw it to first. Now here is what happened yesterday. Knee on the bag, but even more so the way that he really slid down trying to force Asdrubal Cabrera's arm off the bag, and you can understand Asdrubal taking exception to that.
Cabrera batting against Rodriguez takes the pitch up. Number one, you've got to love the way he runs the bases, though, when he hits home run.
Oh,
yeah, like the quickest guy going.
Yep.
You love that. The rest of his game is interesting as well. So's that, apparently, just trying to get loose.
I think the Toronto Blue Jays may want to target him in a trade. Although they got rid of, I mean, Brett Lowry's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm. And our buddy Munenori.
Yeah, Kawasaki.
Yeah.
Boy, when those two at short and third, there was a lot going on out there.
How about an infield of those three? You could go third, short, and second. That'd be great. Fly ball up the right side. That's going to be out of play. Count is still 1-2. Well, Cabrera connected last night from the left side. Almost drove it to the back wall here in right field.
When he took that offering from Spencer Patton and crushed it.
Two balls, two strikes. Cabrera out in front. Missed that slow curve. We're through two, no score. By Toyota. Let's go places. By Sea-Doo Spark, the most affordable watercraft on the water. Starting at only $49.99 or as low as $79 a month. And by Kaiser University. For more information, go to kaiseruniversity.edu. Adam Rosales leads off. The number 9 hitter takes a big cut and misses the slider. Strike one. Fly ball, short center. Here comes Kiermaier. One away.
By the way, we have a lot of angry people out there.
We do.
Yeah, we have a lot of angry people out there for me zooing the restaurant from Happy Days by calling it Archie's as opposed to what the real name of the restaurant is, which is Arnold's.
There you are.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Sounded all right. I went with it, and I've paid dearly.
But the folks in Geneva are happy.
Well, there's a lot of converted Rays fans up that way.
I know. You've done a great job.
Go back every winter and just continue to spread the good news.
Yeah. The Cleveland chapter of the Rays fan club could be meeting out there on the lake right now. And your mother is
leading the charge.
The featured speaker.
Yes.
There's a hot shot up the right side toward the corner off the bat of Chu. He's going to go for two. The throw back in is not in time. It'll be backed up by Longoria. And Chu has himself a two-base hit.
Now the first at bat of the game, and Jake Odorizzi was able to strike out Chu on nothing but fastballs. This one misses its spot, and Chu's able to pop it down into the corner and get out there into scoring position.
And Chu has been swinging a better bat. He got off to a very slow start. He was hitting under 100 in April. I think he was hitting 098. Now he has a 10-game hitting streak. Foul ball right back into the screen.
Well, with a guy like Chu, too, you figure it's just going to be a matter of time because of his strike zone discipline. I mean, this is a guy, for a number of years, that on-base percentage was right about 400, maybe a little bit over, even though the average, 270, 280. So he's got good strike zone discipline. And if you've got that, you're going to put together some hot streaks.
A strike on the edge. 0-2. Make another two-strike pitch. On deck looms Prince Fielder. The screen foul holding the count at 2 strikes.
Well, so important. Jake Odorizzi, we talk each and every start about his ability to use the entire strike zone. Fastballs elevated, splits below the zone. He works both sides of the plate. Today, more than ever, of the utmost importance because of the way he's feeling.
Into the dirt. It skips beneath Rivera, and that's going to move Chu over to third.
Well, that's just one of those rare mistakes that you see. This is a split change, so you've got to anticipate that ball in the dirt, and it stays down. Rene Rivera expecting that ball to bounce a little bit higher, and it stays down and right between the wickets.
Second wild pitch of the year charged to Odorizzi.
That brings the infield in, and Odorizzi looking for a strikeout.
Andrus fouling that one away. The other thing Jake has done this year is cut down the number of pitches it has taken him to work his way through an inning. Last year 18 and under 15 coming into the start today per inning. And he gets a foul tip strikeout. Big strikeout of Andrus, 2 gone.
How about that? Boy, he needed that. Andrus had a pitch that was up in the zone to try to just get over the head of the infielders, but Odorizzi able to power it by him. That elevated heater between the belt and the letters. Yeah, and I think that pitch count speaks to maybe more confidence in the stuff, but just more confidence in what he's doing out there.
Prince Fielder, ground ball headed toward the middle, and right there is Cabrera to throw him out. And Texas strands a man at third. No score, bottom of the third coming.
Scoreless on this Mother's Day 2015. So on Mom's Day, why not talk to the mom of Kevin Cash, the manager of the Rays, Patsy Cash. First of all, Patsy, having him now manage you is a little different watching games now than when he played?
Total different perspective. Actually, I've had the conversation with Justin, my younger son, and I said, isn't it amazing how you just zone in on every single player in every single way? Whereas when he was playing, it was kind of like, okay, it was all about your son because, he was only as good as his last at bat. So, but it's been a lot of fun and such a different perspective, and it's so exciting. They're doing so well.
Yeah, really. I mean, considering the injuries, considering the illness around the clubhouse, here's the Rays 3 games over 500, 2 games behind the Yankees. You got to be so proud of what he's done in his first year.
Amazing. And these newcomers. I mean, that young man last night, Vitelli, is that correct?
Yeah.
I thought of his mom. What an amazing night for him.
We have a little situation here on the mound as they're going to check on the pitcher. Wandy Rodriguez comes off the mound after that delivery to Tim Beckham. It's 2-1 the count as we talk to Patsy Cash. Andrew Bellotti gets his first major league win. His mom had flown all the way in from San Diego. You get to watch Kevin in the same hometown that he grew up playing, Northside Little League and Gaither High School, and then went to Florida State. To get a major league job is one thing. To get in your hometown. Phenomenal. And,
the response, our friends, relatives, people that really don't even know us, just being so excited that it's, the hometown feel-good story. And, he's getting so much support. Justin, Michael, myself, we get so many calls about this season and what it means to everybody to have Kevin here.
Wandy Rodriguez trying to stretch out his back, it looks like, under the watchful eye of Kevin Harmon, who used to be on the Rays training staff as the pitcher for the Texas Rangers, with a 2-1 count here to start the inning, having some issues walking beyond the mound. So we have Justin here, yes. your youngest, and then some of your grandchildren, yes. And then a big gathering tonight at
Kevin's. We're all after the game tonight. Everybody's heading to Kevin and Emily's. It's going to be easy for the moms and easy for the dads. We're ordering out from Carrabba's, a Carrabba's plug, but it's going to be a good time. We're excited. I'm thrilled to have my sons, their families, my daughters-in-law all together again.
What a blessing on this Mother's Day. Patsy, thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, back to you.
Yeah, it's certainly a great story. Great story for Mother's Day. and something that is so unique to get a chance to manage in your hometown. Meanwhile, the Texas Rangers have an injured pitcher on the mound, and Wandy Rodriguez. In fact, Rodriguez with the two perfect innings in this game, 6 up and 6 down, has a stretch going back to his last outing against Houston of 25 consecutive hitters retired.
You can see why they want him to stay in the game. Only if he's healthy. We'll see. I mean, he threw that pitch and came up lame right away. But yeah, 25 in a row. I mean, that's well, we talked about that Houston start. He went 8 innings, gave up 1 earned run.
And retired the last 19 men he faced. And then started this one by getting the first 6 Rays hitters.
Well, as we've seen just in the 6 hitters, you know, not overpowering with that fastball, but he's a veteran pitcher, has a good idea what he's doing out there. The slow curve right now throwing off everybody's timing. If he stays in this game, it'll be interesting to see that pitch the second time through the lineup.
Well, the way he came off the mound after that pitch to Beckham, it's surprising that he's this close to staying in.
Yeah, no, they thought that was a done deal, because watch, as soon as he releases it, there's no doubt something went wrong.
Well, let's lower back somewhere in there. So he's going to try to stay in there. 36-year-old lefty. So the count to Tim Beckham is 2-1. Pitch misses upstairs. You get something like that going, and it's sometimes difficult to readjust your sights. Release point, the whole thing.
And to trust your body. You know, to trust your body, because if you're going to, lower those sights and get back down in the zone, you've got to really reach and get out over the top, out in front. That is where you're going to put the most stress on the injured area.
Fly ball lifted into center. Martin makes the catch. So Beckham is the first out in the third.
Next up, number 39,
Kevin Kiermaier about to step in. Well, how about this? That's 26 straight he's retired over his last 2 outings. Kiermaier sends a fly ball toward the corner and left. Pagaro is there and makes the catch. That fastball up in the upper 80s, and a fly ball to the left field corner.
Oh, he's gotten a
27 in a row.
There you go. I think that you do that in one afternoon, and that's a perfect game. It's taken him 5 days.
Rene Rivera. He pops it up, Rene Rivera. Rosales after this one. Let's just check this again. He has to make a little adjustment, but he makes the grab. 3 up, 3 down. No score through 3. presented by Geico. We'll go back to just last night when Rays right-hander Andrew Bellotti made his major league debut, pitching 3 1/3 scoreless innings in relief and picking up the win. Well, giving this pitching staff a big lift by covering that number of innings and then getting the win on top of it.
Just in the short turnaround between last night and this morning, there's been a little buzz. You know, running into people, working out, running into people here at the stadium downstairs, asking, okay, what's going on with this Bellotti kid? He comes up, we don't even know, who he is, where he came from, and he just comes out and deals for 3 1/3. Just another Rays pitcher getting the job done.
I like Kevin Cash talking about him. Says, well, we kind of liked him, liked what we saw of him in spring training. We didn't see a lot of them in spring training, but I liked what they saw. Fly ball deep to center. Kiermaier is going to go to the wall, and that one will get out of here. Home run for Adrian Beltre on a 2-0 pitch. First home run given up by Odorizzi this year in just under 44 innings of work. And Beltre hits his 3rd of the season.
Well, that's an impressive streak, but we told you early on, Beltre, regardless of what the numbers say, there's a track record. That was a cutter, and it really did not cut at all. That stayed middle of the plate. Beltre went right back up the middle with his power, and he's able to get it out of the yard.
Kyle Blanks takes the ball upstairs. Blank sends a fly ball to right. 1 away.
Left fielder, Carlos Figueroa.
So that leaves Beltre 2 home runs short of 400 in his career. It's a strike to Carlos Figueroa.
Been such an impressive career, as we saw those numbers earlier. That career average in the mid 280s, closing in on 400 home runs. The Gold Glove defense at third base. How about the stat that you brought up? I don't know if it was yesterday or the night before, about the number of games played at third base.
Yeah, the company he keeps in a number of categories when you limit it to third baseman. I mean, unbelievable.
Really,
there are major names in this game from third base, and you have to believe that at the end of the day, he's got to be right there with them when it comes to Hall of Fame consideration. Once he started, he was a teenager, so he got a nice early start.
And no grays either in the hair. Aging very well.
Garo is called out on strikes. 4th strikeout for Odorizzi. But now watch this. No, he doesn't like that. Andres grabbed his helmet. He says, look, slap me on the back, give me a little high five, don't touch the head.
His belief is the human hand on top of the head like that will lead to gray hairs, and he doesn't have any. He doesn't want any. He enjoys playing third base at a very high level, so stay away.
And you saw his shortstop, who plays right next to him, is over there. I'm going to take the helmet off, and then we're going to do this.
If that is not a snapshot of what a major league clubhouse is like.
Beckham at second, handling the ground ball by Martin. 1 run on the Beltre home run. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 1-0. is leading the Rays. Time now to check in with Emily Austin. Emily?
Hi, Dwayne. The Honorary Batgirl program was started on Mother's Day back in 2009 to raise awareness for breast cancer. Dorothy Campbell of Newport Richey was diagnosed in 2010. She is the Rays honorary Batgirl. She threw out the first pitch, and before that, she told me she was a little nervous, but she did have time to catch up with some of the guys, and their words brought tears to her eyes, and she's just trying to take this whole experience in. It was a very special day for her. Her daughter was here. Just want to say best of luck to her in her continued fight against breast cancer, guys.
All right, thank you. On this special Mother's Day, go to the bottom of the fourth, and Brandon Geyer tries to bunt that breaking ball and missed it. Strike one. Geyer, Souza Jr., and then Longoria. 1-1.
Well, it has been that slow breaking ball that has kept his Rays lineup off balance the first time through. Really, really cuts the velocity on that pitch while maintaining a good break. And you know what that does is, even though he doesn't wow you with velocity, it makes that 87, 88, 89 mile an hour fastball that much harder. It appears to be harder than that because of the super slow curve. That pitch jumps on you a little bit.
Rodriguez was in camp this spring with the Atlanta Braves. There's another ground ball, and this one handled by the shortstop Andrews. It's 10 in a row here. 29 in a row over his last two outings. Braves let him go at the end of spring training. Texas signed him to a minor league deal, went to Round Rock, their AAA affiliate, pitched a couple games there, and was with the big club. This is his fourth start. See, 92 big league wins with 95 losses and just over 250 starts. Souza takes a breaking ball down. But Texas trying to find some depth to their pitching as well. Hugh Darvish, DL, Derek Holland, DL, Matt Harrison, DL. I mean, those are some pretty big arms right there. Nick Tepesh, who came up a couple of years ago and impressed and was around last year, he's on the DL. Now 3-0. So they're faced with a situation where they have to replace a lot of innings in their rotation. And under a new manager, first-year manager Jeff Bannister. In fact, it was Bannister and Kevin Cash who were right down at the end being considered for the Texas job, and it went to Bannister. Interesting backstory on Bannister. He's a guy who really had to fight. He had a couple of bouts with cancer in high school. They found it in his ankle. He went to the collegiate level, had 3 vertebrae broken in his neck, so essentially he had beaten cancer and had a broken neck. And that breaking ball is strike 3. And Souza Jr. out on strikes for the second time.
Well, you talk about bucking the odds.
Yep, and he's still in his desire to get to the big leagues. Picked by the Pirates. Pitch might have been a little wide there. And got to the big leagues for 1 at bat and got a base hit, and that was it. So he has a lifetime batting average in the major leagues of 1,000, 1 for 1. Evan Longoria takes a strike. Rick Odioso, we got together and asked him to do a little research on how many players had a 1,000 career batting average, and I knew John Pachorik, the Colt 45s, went 3 for 3, hurt his back and never played in the big leagues again. So he was 3 for 3 and the only guy to do that. But a handful of guys 2 for 2, including one who played for the Devil Rays, and that was Esteban Yon.
And that was with a bomb, right?
Yeah, he had a home run. He was 2 for 2.
Nice.
I think there were maybe 10 of those guys, 9 or 10 of those guys. count is 2-2. And if you go from the one guy, John Pachorik, who was 3 for 3, and then the handful 2 for 2, and then the guys who were 1 for 1, what were there? I think about 85 guys total with 1,000 batting average. Fly ball. Martin in center is there. And the Rays are up and down 1-2-3 for the 4th straight inning. On to the 5th. 1-0 Texas.
Hey, Rays fans.
Texas leads 1-0 at the end of 4. We head into the 5th inning. Don't forget the annual Rays broadcast auction coming up Wednesday, May 13th. Tune in for an opportunity to bid on exclusive experiences. Proceeds benefit the Rays Baseball Foundation and Tampa General Hospital Foundation. For more information, visit raysbaseball.com/broadcast auction and there preview what will be up for bid. Rays up. Carlos Corporon leads off the 5th. 2-0 the count. Number 8 hitter in the Texas lineup. It's foul back. 2-1. Corporon came over from the Houston organization. In fact, he's been catching all of the starts by Wandy Rodriguez, and that's apparently turning out really well recently with the streak that Rodriguez has been on.
Well, it's always nice to have familiarity. A guy who's caught you in the past, understands what you're trying to do, what your stuff does. You just really can't say enough about a pitcher-catcher relationship when it's bad and also when it's really good. Almost becomes ESP.
Corporon's out on strikes. Strikeout number 5 for Odorizzi. 1 away in the 5th. Well, it's worked to the point where Wandy Rodriguez has retired 31 hitters in a row.
You know, when you're working with a catcher like that, you really could get to the point where you don't even need to put signs down. You know what you want to do. You know what's working for you. He feels the same way. And it could just be like, here, bring it. Just throw it. I know what you're going to come with. And most of the time, I can probably guess where. It becomes that much of a
takes a strike.
A situation where you're that much in sync. It's really incredible. It's almost surreal.
Like a really good marriage.
Like a really good marriage.
There's the strike, 0-2. That is amazing. I've had other pitchers tell me that you become so in sync with a catcher that you're just, of course, that's exactly what I want to throw right now to this guy in this situation. Look at this one. Oh, what a catch. Oh, I hope he's all right. Forsythe, a lot of ground, running down to the bullpen and then making contact with that low wall. A little spin out after that, and he appears to be fine. That's a great catch. How ironic that Forsythe makes this catch on a pop fly off the bat of Rosales.
Showing him how it's done.
Has had.
How about the range?
Oh, that's amazing.
That's all the enthusiasm that Jake Odorizzi could muster. And you understand why. But, you take, like we were just talking earlier in the game, Forsythe's playing all over the place. Last couple of nights at third. Now you put him at first. That's that pop-up way down the line. That's such a long way for a first baseman to run and not an easy angle. And like you said, little short wall coming into play and still able to navigate it successfully.
When the Rays made that deal with the Padres to get him, this is what they talked about him being. Didn't work out exactly the way they wanted last year. But here, a year removed from that, he's exactly what they had projected and hoped that he would turn out to be. And he's been remarkable this year.
Oh, he has. He has. And he knew coming out of spring training, listen, you're the guy. You're going to be playing just about every day.
Now a shot up the right side. That's fair. And will bound out of play for a 2-base hit. And Chu on a 3-0 fastball picks up his second double of the day.
Both of them very similar. Look at another fastball meant to be away that comes back in. It was the same pitch meant for the same spot, missed in the same area with the same result. Let's go through that one more time.
We're having it transcribed. It'll be read back to us momentarily. Here is Elvis Andrus. He pops it up. Longoria is making the call. Fair ball. He's got it to retire on the side. No runs, a hit. One left. Another look at that great play by Logan Forsythe down near the bullpen. 1-0 Texas. Rodriguez as we go to the bottom of the fifth. Our Toyota trend has Rodriguez retiring 31 consecutive hitters spread over his last 2 starts. And Logan Forsythe in there to lead off the bottom of the fifth against him. Breaking ball stays a little wide this time. 1-0. That one is in for a strike. Curveball around 73.
That's the pitch that really has set up everything else and befuddled this Rays lineup.
Side did not go. Fastball in the upper 80s.
And he's been using the fastball wisely too. The curveball, down in the zone, sometimes away, trying to get guys to reach. Then the fastball, he rushes in. Then he'll go back out away, moving the ball around, keeping the lineup off balance.
You saw the range 71 to 89.
Yeah.
And how about that pitch right there? Curveball again at 74.
A lot of times you think change of speed, you think change up. His change of speed has been the curveball, and
it's now 3-2.
You're starting to see the usage of it go up also, because I think Wandy Rodriguez and Carlos Corporan are realizing this is a big pitch for him today, but you don't want to overuse it. That's where hitters get wise.
Cut to miss. He came back with a 3-2 curveball and strikes out Forsythe.
This pitch has been just outstanding for Wandy Rodriguez all afternoon. He came in hot, and he has not slowed down at all. The fastball up in the zone there to get Souza Jr. And you're going to see that good slow hook to Asdrubal Cabrera, and more of the same. Got a call there. That pitch was actually off the plate, but then this pitch, you can see Forsythe out in front and way over the top.
Well, here's the other thing. Butler fouls the fastball back. I think Corporan and Rodriguez are seeing that Mike Estabrook is giving a little space on that outside corner to right-handed hitters. And that at bat to Forsythe. There was a breaking ball. The fourth pitch he made was a called strike that appeared to be a little off the plate. There have been 2 or 3 of those, and they've taken advantage of that.
Well, the big one was the breaking ball to Souza Jr.
Yeah.
That ball was off the plate.
Yeah, that was in the 4th.
Absolutely.
And then again here in the 5th inning.
And you will notice that. I mean, listen, the guy catching it knows where that ball is, Corporan, and he's going to say to Wandy, hey, listen, we don't have to be so fine with that curveball. Give me a little bit of room. Until he stops calling it, let's try to take advantage. You can see him right now. He wants this pitch down. Corporan pounding the dirt with the glove.
It's popped up foul. Out of play.
It's been the breaking ball away, the fastball in to try to speed hitters up, and then go back out away and slow them back down. Just back and forth.
That one a fastball off the plate. It's 1-2.
A show fastball. You see how far he was off. Maybe you're hoping for a call, and the fastball probably not. But you give Butler a look at the fastball away.
So down and in. That curveball really biting toward Butler's back foot.
And that was Corporan asking for that pitch there. He wanted a kind of a back foot hook, thinking that Butler would swing over the top of it. But that pitch easily recognized by Joey Butler. See where he puts his glove. I want it down here. Not quite.
And he went around. He is out on strikes on that curveball down and in. Went back in there and got it.
Well, right now you're seeing what we've been talking about with the pitcher-catcher relationship between Corporan and Rodriguez. The way that they're working together right now, each and every pitch. And I'll tell you,
the Rays and Mike Estabrook having a difference of opinion. And Estabrook telling Kevin Cash not to come any closer. Now Cash has been ejected. I think he got Derek Shelton to begin with, and now he got Cash when Cash turned his back. And now Cash is going to come back and get his money's worth. And Cash is right about this. They've seen some of the locations of those breaking pitches.
well, the location of the breaking pitch and the fact that Joey Butler did not go. He did not go. That was a hook that looked like he held up on, and Estabrook was so demonstrative in calling Butler out. And yes, Kevin Cash did get his money's worth.
Well, there's Derek Shelton Shelton not happy. So he goes. Kevin Cash, Esterbrook telling him not to come out. So now he's gone. And that's when Cash came back to get his money's worth.
Oh, wait a minute.
On second thought.
Yeah, right. Let's make it official then.
That's where that pitch was.
Well, that's what he had yelled at him. He said, call the strike zone. The chalk on either side is not the strike zone, and we've seen Rodriguez be able to get some of those.
Now 1-2 to Cabrera. It turned out to be timely because we saw those calls to Souza in the 4th, Forsythe in the 5th. And the Rays dugout had just gotten to the point where they made their feelings known.
He hooked it left.
Popped up, Corcoran looking for it, and it's going to be out of play. Still a ball, 2 strikes. Meanwhile, Wandy Rodriguez has set a Texas team record. Ken Hill at one point with Texas had retired 31 hitters in a row, and Wandy Rodriguez has surpassed that and gets a called 3rd strike away from Cabrera. So Rodriguez strikes out the side. Rays still without a base runner through 5. It's a 1-0 ball game, and this is exactly the point Kevin Cash was just making a few moments ago. That is not a strike. There, Kevin Cash has been ejected. Rays losing 2 members of their staff. In the bottom of the 5th inning, Derek Shelton, the hitting coach, was the first to go, and then Kevin Cash following him on that wide strike zone off the corner on a couple of pitches. Now we go to the 6th. Prince Fielder leads off, and the pitch from Odorizzi is a strike. Meanwhile, Wandy Rodriguez, a stretch of 34 in a row retired, going back into his last start, and 15 hitters into this one. 1-1 the count on Fielder. Ground ball. That will be handled by Forsythe. 1 out in the 6th. Follow the Rays all season in 2015 with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Here's the difference in the game right now. Adrian Beltre hit a 2-0 pitch out in the 4th. This pitch is up 1-0.
Well, now it's up to Rene Rivera and Jake Odorizzi to see if they can exploit the same strike zone that Wandy Rodriguez is working with.
High fly ball, right center. Kiermaier over, and Souza ducks away. 2 gone.
When you hear the footsteps of Kelly Leak, you get out of the way.
Just peel off.
Just peel off. You can hear him coming.
So Kiermaier handles Beltre's fly ball. Base is empty for Kyle Blanks. Blanks out on 2 pitches in the 4th inning, and that's been unusual for him. He has run a lot of deep counts in this series. After the first pitch, the fastball fouling it away for a strike.
Kyle Blanks is making that adjustment, realizing that Jake Odorizzi, different pitcher. This is a guy way more efficient this year in his pitch counts, pounding that zone early. So you got to be ready to go.
1-1.
And if you're out there not feeling well, last thing you want to do is start nitpicking. So you're really going to be aggressive in the zone.
And he has been that. His pitch count, he made 16 pitches in the 2nd inning, but the first 13, he made 12 in each the 3rd and 4th, 13 in the 5th inning. 2 outs here. He's been efficient in the 6th. A 2-2 count.
And he looks better. Yeah, I mean, physically, on the mound, you know he's not feeling great, but he looks better. Pitcher that flew right out of him.
There could be something to that. Up a bit. Full count. Blanks went 3-2. Struck out on a fastball away in the 2nd. 3-2 here in the 6th inning on it. He got him. Struck him out swinging on the fastball. 3 up, 3 down. Bottom of the 6th coming up. 1-0 Texas. Big blow in the game. Adrian Beltre's fourth home run of the year on a 2-0 pitch leading off the fourth.
Well, that's been the ball game, and a big reason why. The way that Wandy Rodriguez continues to pitch so well, getting some calls right there and taking advantage. Hey, listen, all he can do is throw it in there. If it's being called, you're going to try to exploit it. And there was the ring up on Estabrook on the swing, and there was no swing there. And then Kevin Cash is going to come out and say, oh, by the way, not only no swing, but how about quit calling pitches that aren't even close to the plate?
Yeah, the Rays had a run out of 4 hitters there. They significantly disagreed. There's a strike call to Beckham out there. Sousa in the 4th inning called out on a curveball that the replay showed was wide. Then to open the 5th, Forsythe, the at bat, a couple of wide calls there, and then Butler, who did not swing, he was rung up by Estabrook.
Well, you can see a pitcher out there is in a good rhythm. He's having a good afternoon. You don't want to see him getting any help in a tight game, and so the frustration starts to build, and you get that, like you said, in a short period of time, and it's going to blow, and it did cost the Rays their manager and their hitting coach.
1-2 count on Beckham. There's a line drive and a base hit. Into left it goes. Beckham will make the turn aggressively, but hang on with a single. A 1-2 pitch, and Beckham lined it past Beltre.
That ball was ripped, and Beltre not able to react quick enough. A ball riding up, and Beckham, you see him get on top of that pitch. That's not easy to do. Pull those hands in, get the bat head out in front, and hit a rope into left field.
So that stops the streak in this game after 15 and 34 over the last 2 games for Rodriguez. Now Kiermaier looks at a strike. Kiermaier line to left, his first time. Rays get their first base runner on the leadoff single. Strike 2.
I mean, this zone wide on both sides. That ups the degree of difficulty here for the Rays hitters.
One ball, 2 strikes. Ground ball by the mound. Rosales finally makes the pickup, and then the perfunctory toss to second base after Beckham had left the baseline.
Yeah, I don't think that you can do that. Nice job by Tim Beckham trying to force Rosales into a decision, and then he gets tricky with him here. Okay, I'm not going to let you tag me. Puts a little juke move.
Rosales should be used to this.
If he would have just taken the route that he takes on pop-ups, he'd have tagged him.
Exactly. That's a routine play for him. One out with Kiermaier now at first. And here's Rene Rivera. The ejection for Cash is second of the year. Laz Diaz ejected him back on the 16th of April in Toronto. That had to do with the reaction to an instant replay review. Strike to Rivera. And this one came on the heels of Shelton's ejection. And what Cash felt was a need for a ball and strike call correction. Kiermaier aboard. Snap throw to first. Safe the call there.
You know, and I think the timing for Kevin Cash was good. You know, you've got a tight game here. You're looking to win a series, like to take 3 out of 4 from the Rangers. You want to show that you're going to fight for your team. You got a young team, first-time manager. You're a month and a half into your tenure, 2.5 months, count spring training. And these guys know that you're going to fight and go to bat for them over this strike zone.
Oh, covered up by Corcoran. 1-2. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that's important. You know, and Cash has been, I think he's been very sensitive to that. And he's been really smart about how he's handled this club. And even some of the moves that a couple of the pitchers here and there have not necessarily agreed with. And he's been really upfront with all that and willing to engage in an open conversation back and forth with them. That just makes so much sense to me.
It does. It's the lack of communication where resentment starts to build. But when you have the open lines of communication, or even a manager who's proactive, going to a guy saying, look, I know you're not real happy with that. I completely understand. I get it.
Well, Rivera hit by the pitch. The Rays are going to get 2 men aboard, and that pushes Kiermaier up to scoring position.
You're able to do something like that. You know, that's the way you continually build that trust with your players, and then they get the feeling that, hey, listen, we are all in this together. It's that bunker type mentality.
Yeah, it goes to credibility.
Yeah.
You lose that, you're in trouble, and if you build it, then that's a great thing. Meeting on the mound, that's Mike Maddox, the pitching coach. A reminder in the game today and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Well, a little duress here for Rodriguez. Kiermaier on second and Rivera at first.
Well, and Mike Maddox is trying to jump out in front of this because he's not going to go through the lineup for the 3rd time. And it was the curveball that did him in against Rivera, trying to go down and in. He bounced it, caught him in the foot, leg area, and you hit the 9 hole. So now you got first and second, 1 out, and these guys getting their 3rd look.
Brandon Guyer, a couple of ground balls to short so far. Rosales shaded toward the bag at second. Curveball, and this time it's called wide. 1-0. Guyer made a bid for a hit his first time up, and Andres went into the hole at short. There's a liner through the hole. Into left. Kiermaier heads to the plate. Throw. Not in time. This game tied at 1. Brandon Guyer comes through with a big hit. Rays on the board.
You knew the way that Rodriguez was throwing that curveball all afternoon that when in trouble he was going to go with it. That's been a pitch that has befuddled the Rays lineup all afternoon. He hits Rivera with it, and then Brandon Guyer able to rope one out into left field, and the speed of Kiermaier ties his ball game up.
So the Rays are on the board. 1 out into the bottom of the 6th inning. Here's Steven Souza Jr. He takes the ball. Struck out on a fastball up in the first, down 1-2. And then 3-2 in the 4th inning, called out on a curveball that he thought was well wide of the plate. He's off, and this one dips down. 2-0. Rene Rivera on second. Brandon Guyer at first. That is outside. Change up that time. So he's missed with all 3 pitches. You see that 3 out there, the 3rd pitch. He'd had a couple of called strikes out there earlier. 3-1. Popped up. Foul ball right side, blanks toward the dugout, but it's going to be on top of the dugout. And the count will go to 3-2.
Well, you can never give up on those pop-ups on either side because they go up, they look like they're going to be foul, but that backspin, they start to head back towards the field. That one almost ended up in the Rays dugout. Looked like it was going to be way out.
Souza Jr. goes to first. Guyer up to second. Rivera, who was hit by a pitch, now in third, and Evan Longoria will be the hitter.
Is it any surprise that Wandy Rodriguez is struggling right here? I mean, he hasn't pitched out of the stretch in a week. All of a sudden, the Rays put him in the stretch, and the command is gone.
Keela up in the bullpen. We saw him the other night. He has a very good arm.
Going from straight over the top to Iron Mike style in the mid-90s.
So here's Longoria trying to get it done now. Evans popped to second, hit a fly ball to center. And he takes ball 1 upstairs. Evan belted a 3-run home run in the first inning last night against the left-hander Detweiler. And he fouls it back in a big cut. 1-1.
Well, we've seen the power start to come back from Evan Longoria. 3 home runs in his last 3 games, looking to make it 4-4.
Rays have loaded the bases. Pitch is wide. That curveball didn't have a lot of bite to it.
No, he's overthrowing right now. Gotten himself into a little bit of trouble, and instead of staying smooth and with that easy delivery that he's shown, you know, the first 5 innings, all of a sudden now every pitch max effort.
And a line drive. Oh, it's caught by Andres, and they're going to get a double play at second base. Guyer doubled off second. Andres stretching out and got enough of the glove to haul it in and get the double play. That close to taking the lead by a couple runs. And here it is again. Rays tie this game. We're through 6. 1-1. Fifth inning, get in on the action with exclusive on-field seating in the Papa John's bullpen box. Host your group of 50 to 85 in the private party area and leave long-lasting memories. Reserve your Papa John's bullpen box by contacting Group Sales at 888-FAN-RAYS or emailing Group Sales at RaysBaseball.com. Limited dates remain. First pitch to Carlos Pagaro is a strike. Seventh inning is underway. Pagaro with a bunt single and a call third strike his last time up there. 0-2.
Well, how about the work that Jake Odorizzi has done, very quietly piecing together another tremendous outing.
It made 77 pitches through 6 innings. As efficient as you can be.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking just under 13, right around 13 an inning. That is outstanding.
And he strikes out Pagaro. Fastball up, gets him.
And that's such a big pitch for him. He works all over the place. This pitch to Pagaro, you know, he's got a knack for putting that pitch right where it needs to be. Not too high that it's an easy take, not too low where it's going to get belted, but just in that in-between zone, and he can't get there.
And you watch these hitters react because Pagaro thinks he's right on it.
Oh, yeah.
And he misses it, and he stands up there and said, what?
You start looking at your bat like I got a hole in the barrel.
Yeah.
I mean, how did I miss that pitch? You're right. It's close to their eyes, and it's still in a zone that they think they can handle. Delusional.
Martin back to the mound on the 0-1 pitch, and Odorizzi throws him out. Nice little recovery there by Jake Odorizzi. So 2 up, 2 down. He'll take a little time to collect himself. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealer. We'll hear from Alex Colomé. Boy, what a lift he's given the Rays since he's been back. And Arestas will break down the Rays' success versus the veteran left-hander CC Sabathia, who will be opening that series for New York. So Colomé and Sabathia tomorrow. We'll be with you at 6:30. It'll be the matchup of the tilted caps, Colomé and Sabathia. Carlos Corporan takes a strike.
Sabathia to the right. Colomé right there, a little bit to the right.
A little soft liner dropping into center field, and Corporan has a base hit.
Number 9, Adam Rosales.
Two-out base hit. Adam Rosales is the hitter. Keela's back up in the bullpen for Texas. Xavier Cedeno is up for the Rays. Cedeno, and it appears he's going to be joined by Gomes. It's a little bit outside here to Rosales. The Yankees have added to their lead at home over Baltimore. It's now 5-1. J.J. Hardy back for the Orioles has hit a home run. Beltran and McCann have homered for New York. Rosales pops it down the right side. That's headed out of play. It's 1-1. The Red Sox have a 6-2 lead in Toronto with the Blue Jays batting in the bottom of the 6th inning. Sandoval and Napoli have homered for the Red Sox in that game. A little bit high. 2-1. Cut and a miss. 2-2.
Boy, even able to keep that cutter just above the swing of Rosales. everything in the upper regions of the strike zone until he's going to drop that split change.
Upstairs, fastball up out of the zone. The count is full.
Corporon off and running here. Need to make a pitch to Rosales.
He's the number 9 hitter, meaning Shin-Soo Choo, the left-handed bat, is on deck. Cedeno busy in the bullpen. Runner will be off with the pitch. And a soft popper into shallow left center. That's going to drop. That will send Corporon over to third. Well, Corporon's single not hit that hard, but he's now at third as Rosales drops a base hit into shallow left center. And Tom Foley. There was a Tim Foley once upon a time.
There was.
Tom now managing. Tom Foley heads to the mound to make the pitching change. By Bank United. Bank United offers a variety of checking, savings, and money market accounts. Visit any Tampa location to open your account today. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance or more. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Courtesy Toyota, you'll love what we do for you. Xavier Cedeno, the new pitcher for the Rays. First pitch to Choo is inside. Boy, what a job turned in by Jake Odorizzi. 91 pitches today. And Tom Foley finally out to get him with the left-handed hitter coming up. And men on the corners with 2 gone.
Well, if anything, it was the back-to-back doubles Choo had gotten off Odorizzi in his last couple at-bats, but you're right, the effort that Jake put in, hard enough to go out there and have this kind of an outing against big league hitters, let alone when you're feeling about 50% physically. You could tell Jake was struggling with how he felt all game long, and still, that's his line. Didn't walk anybody, was efficient and very good. Hopefully Cedeno here can leave these runners on, and his final line will stay just like we saw it.
Odorizzi got the first 2 and then gave up a couple of soft hits to Corporon and Rosales, setting up the first and third. That's a strike. 2-1. Rays tied it with a run in the bottom of the 6th. The Rangers threatened with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Novus Andrus on deck. Foul out of play. Makes it 2-2. Texas got a run on the home run by Beltre in the 4th. Brandon Guyer drove in a run for the Rays in the bottom of the 6th. We're in the 7th now. Cedeno back square with Chu at 2-2. Ground ball right side. Beckham gloves up and throws. Got it. Beckham to Forsythe to get Chu and retire the Texas Rangers and thwart the threat. They do not score in the top of the 7th, leaving 2. 7th inning stretch time with the Rays and the Rangers tied at 1. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. Turned out to be quite a pitching matchup. Wandy Rodriguez, 6 innings of 1-run, 2-hit baseball. At one point, he retired the first 15 men he faced. And Jake Odorizzi, under the weather, but making the start nevertheless, and he was very good.
Yeah, he gutted it out. Something fierce today. 91 pitches in those 6 2/3 innings, and just continued to work the ball around the zone. Something that he does each and every start. Using the fastball at the top of the zone. Here's one cutting down around the knees, climbing the ladder on Peguero. Left a couple of runners aboard. Cedeno comes in. A nice play by Tim Beckham to get out of that 7th inning. And here he goes. Pitched into the 7th once again.
Our game about to move into the bottom of the 7th inning. And a new pitcher, Deontay Kella, will take over for Wandy Rodriguez. It's Dana Demuth. And I'm not sure what he has in hand.
Getting ready to.
Part of the mound, they're trying to dig it out, get it ready, and it was Keone Kela who dug that part up, and so they'll have to do a little repair work.
Gonna go right to the museum. Fossils. You have that brushed. Gonna be a dinosaur bone in there somewhere.
So a bit of a delay while they do a little repair work on the mound. So they'll take care of that, give us an opportunity to remind you about the annual Rays broadcast auction coming up Wednesday. It's the 13th. Tune in for an opportunity to bid on the exclusive experiences available. Proceeds benefit the Rays Baseball Foundation and Tampa General Hospital Foundation. For more information, visit RaysBaseball.com/broadcast auction to preview what will be up for bid. It's the annual Rays broadcast auction coming up Wednesday, May 13th. Baltimore hitting in the top of the 6th inning. They trail the Yankees 5-1. And the Boston Red Sox have a 6-2 lead on the Blue Jays in Toronto. Blue Jays put a man at second in the bottom of the 7th with nobody out in that game. At the start of play today, the Rays trailing the New York Yankees by 2 games in the American League East. The Yankees will be coming in starting a 4-game series tomorrow with Alex Colomé making the start against CC Sabathia. There'll be 4 night games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Rays 2 back of the Yankees. Toronto started the day 3 out with Baltimore 4.5 back and Boston 5.5 back. Rays set to have Colomé, Archer, and Carnes, and the starter in that last game yet to be determined. To bring you up to date in this one, Adrian Beltre's home run is 3rd of the year. That led off the 4th inning. And of course, Wandy Rodriguez about as good as you can be for 5 innings.
Yeah, he was sharp. The slow curveball early on giving the Rays problems. They started to figure that out later in his outing. Picks up some strikeouts right there. Kevin Cash coming out to defend his hitting coach, who had already been run, and Derek Shelton now coming back to get his money's worth, saying, hey, listen, some of these breaking balls are nowhere near the plate, and you're calling them.
Well, you saw Kevin just turned around and was ejected after we told him to turn around. Well, he did. He ejected him anyway, so then he had to come back and get his money's worth. Meanwhile, the Rays then tied the game on the base hit by Brandon Guyer, scoring Kevin Kiermaier. And boy, they were just that little, what do they call that, the silly millimeter away on that line drive by Longoria from taking the lead. Instead, Texas turned it into a double play. And here's Logan Forsythe to begin the bottom of the 7th. Takes a breaking ball low. 1 ball and no strikes. Forsythe nothing of 2 in this game. Butler next, and then Cabrera. 1 and 2. Alex Claudio is up in the Texas bullpen. And Forsythe up. And a 2-2 count. There's Claudio. Forsythe out on strikes. Missed the slider.
How about the break on that pitch? Keeler coming from straight over the top. He can call that pitch whatever he wants, but the depth that he's able to get on it gives you that curveball depth, that slider speed.
Joey Butler is grounded out and struck out. Taps this one foul. It's a strike. Jepson up in the Rays bullpen. One count. Big cut and a miss.
Got to get 3.
Upstairs, fastball in the mid-90s. Takes care of Butler. Look at this.
Yeah, this is coming off of that fastball way above the zone. Then you bring in the breaking ball, and Butler trying to get it started early because of velocity on the fastball. And the fact that Keeley, he's able to throw that breaking ball, and it really is a curveball that he throws at slider speed. And so you can imagine how tight that ball is spinning and just not recognized by Joey.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Upstairs, 1-0. One and one. Two outs with the bases empty. Started to go, but checked. 3 balls, 1 strike. Tom Foley handling the lineup card now with Kevin Cash ejected. That came on the heels of Derek Shelton being ejected. And that foul ball runs the count all the way to 3-2. Keone Kela, born in Los Angeles, and a very good arm out there out of the Texas bullpen. Cabrera draws the walk. Rangers thought they had strike 3. And Cabrera heads to first.
Yeah, not on any count. That ball's off the plate, number 1, and then let's take a look at the swing. He was knocking on the door.
Now Tim Beckham. Beckham started the 6th inning with a base hit. The Rays eventually got the tying run home in that frame. After the fastball and misses. Strike 1. Just 22 years old. One and one. One and two. Major break on that one into the dirt. Beckham with his base hit in the sixth, snapped an 0 for 17. Behind in the count this time around. In the dirt again. There goes Cabrera, and he's going to move up.
Yeah, that's veteran base running there by Asdrubal Cabrera. First of all, he saw the previous pitch that was swung and missed at by Tim Beckham. Figures that Keela is going to come right back with the same pitch, and if he does, it's going to be in the dirt. And so his secondary league, good anticipation, and he's able to swipe that bag, get out there into scoring position here with 2 outs. That is a real good idea as a base runner, taking advantage of a situation.
Corcoran calling time. The count even on Tim Beckham. It's a wild pitch, allowing Cabrera to alertly move up. Boy, at this stage, every advanced base is key.
And limited offense, everything is huge, especially now that it's bullpen on bullpen late in the game. Who's going to blink first?
Odorizzi pitched 6 2/3, made 91 pitches. Rodriguez 6 innings and 91 pitches for Texas. Beckham ready for the 2-2, and he hits a ground ball to short. A throw by Andrus in time. Rays leave a man on second. We go to the 8th. It's 1-1.
I want to say thank you for always being there and being my support system through everything, basically. So thank you. I love you. Have a great day.
Just wanted to wish all the moms out there a happy Mother's Day, especially my mom and my wife celebrating her first Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms here today. Sunday afternoon on Mother's Day at the ballpark, and the Rays And the Texas Rangers wrapping up their 4-game series, tied 1-1. Kevin Jepsen is the third Rays pitcher of the day to open the 8th inning. He faces Elvis Andrus, who's nothing of 3. And a nice hard curveball for strike 1 to start him.
You can see Elvis Andrus lean back on that. That ball coming out of the hand hot right at Andrus. And Rake takes it right to the strike zone.
And another one for strike 2. Andrus, Fielder, and Beltre due up in the 8th. The tap is foul.
Jepsen with 3 straight breaking balls. That swing by Andrus, which tells you all you need to know about his recognizing that pitch. Not too well right now. Jepsen, another guy who can spin that curveball. He throws that thing at slider speed to go along with a mid-90s fastball.
Did he go? He did not on the appeal down to Dana Dubuque. Fans down that way wanted that call. Close. Look at that. Interesting angle.
Yeah, very.
Upstairs, takes it to 2-2. Jepsen was in the game here Friday night. Little tapper foul on that curveball, and Andrus just made a little contact with it. Count is full. Just for the fastball. Just a little bit away.
So these are some of the pitches that have been going against the Rays. They're not getting the calls now. That's why you hear the hooting and hollering from the fans.
And there's ball 4. Yeah, that's that last pitch prior to ball 4. All you got to do is catch part of the zone. So Jepsen walks Andrus to open the 8th.
Yeah, that hurts because he had Andrus in the hole 0-2.
There's Prince Fielder. That's ball 1, a fastball. John Tollison up in the bullpen, just beginning to throw. Close again. It's 2-0. 2 pitches away, and Fielder up in the count. Strike. Over to first, and a nice pick by Forsythe on the toss in the dirt.
Forsythe building some trust over there at first base, making a couple of nice plays, and that's not an easy one either. That's not the short hop scoop. That's a little bit longer, more difficult to judge where that ball's going to end up.
3-1 on Fielder.
And you could see Kevin Jepsen how careful he's trying to be here with Fielder. Needs to make a pitch, doesn't want to be out over the heart of the plate because of Fielder's power. He's been hot.
Fouled back. Came 3-1 fastball and a full count here. Runner at first with nobody out. 3-2 to Fielder. Runner goes, and the pitch is ball 4. And back-to-back walks in the 8th.
Well, the first one with Andrus up 0-2, you lose him, and then you fall way down to Fielder, trying to make a pitch here in a full count. Trying to stay obviously away from Fielder, misses with that, and now you've got a situation. Beltre, who's already homered today, at the plate.
Well, that came on a 2-0 pitch back in the 4th. Pitch found its way to the middle of the plate. Now Fielder will be lifted for a pinch runner. Delano DeShields will run for him. And the curveball stays inside to Beltre. 1 ball, no strikes. Line drive, base hit into left. Geyer with the pickup. Andrus heads to the plate. The throw's cut off. Texas takes a 2-1 lead. Beltre drives in the second run for Texas today. He has both runs batted in.
Breaking ball, and this pitch stays up middle. Beltre, for the second time today, drives in a run. You can see the spin of that breaking ball right down into the swing of Beltre, shoots it out into left field. And you still got a tough situation here. You're down 1, first and second, still nobody out.
Yeah, 2 walks and a single. Frieri starts to throw in the bullpen for the Rays.
That makes Beltre now 8 for 17 off of Kevin Jepsen. Had good success against him.
Well, the homestand continues tomorrow night. Alex Colomé will oppose CC Sabathia in the opening game of a 4-game series against the New York Yankees. And our coverage on Sun Sports begins at 6:30 tomorrow. Kyle Blanks takes the pitch inside. Blanks 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. The Rays victimized by the leadoff walk, and now DeShields, who's a runner for Fielder with DeShields' great speed. He's out there at second base, and Beckham trying to keep him close to the bag. 1-1. Shields got some playing time in the first 2 games of this series because of the injury to Martin. Martin back now. Shields comes off the bench to run. Down to third. Longoria goes there to get one, and now they have DeShields, who was confused. They get him running between second and third.
It was almost as if Delino DeShields didn't realize there was somebody on first base, so he's going to read the ground ball to Longoria and make a decision where to go. Just watch him. Like, there's nobody there. Ground ball, you got to go. He's just kind of holding up. It's out in front of me. I'll take the force play there, and now you're in big trouble.
So the Rays get an unusual double play.
Boy, that could loom large. Because Evan Longoria, if Delino DeShields goes on contact, which he should have, it was a ground ball, where Evan fielded that ground ball, DeShields is going to get into third base. They're going to try to go for 2. You'd have a runner on third right now. Whether they get the double play or not, you'd have to wait and see. You get that runner cut down, and now runner on first, 2 outs, and still just a 1-run deficit.
Yeah, it's a 5-4-6 on that play. And here is Peguero. 2-0. So Blanks is aboard at first. It's technically on a fielder's choice. And the Rays get 2 outs on that. Well, you can imagine what Beckham was thinking when he looked up and saw DeShields still within steps of him.
I think you could see the look on his face, like, what are you doing here? What do I do? You don't practice those kind of situations. You assume the base runner knows the situation, is going to be off with contact. And the Rays will take that. Man.
And now ball 4 to Peguero. It's the 3rd walk of the inning. And here comes Tom Foley. So the Rays will get a new pitcher here in the 8th. Checkers Authentic Philly Cheesesteak. Or try the new meatball sub. Pick yours, 2 for $5. By Kubota. For more information or to find out where you can find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. And buy your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. So 2 outs in this inning, and if the Rays can somehow get out of this and give up just 1 run, you got to feel pretty good about that. Ernesto Friori is the new pitcher. He's on to face Leonis Martin. Gary's pitch is in there for a strike.
Frieri on for the 14th time, 13 2/3 innings of work, 11 strikeouts.
Cut and a miss. 0-2. Had it out in front. Ramirez up in the bullpen. Pop up, foul ball. Rivera back to the screen, but he runs out of room. Three walks and a hit in this inning, and Texas, because of that base running mistake, just one out away from settling for one run. In fact, right now, one pitch away.
Oh, and it was a pinch runner, too, and that's your biggest fear. Not in the flow of the game. You just don't want to go out there and screw something up. But that's what happened.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
It was really his base running early in this series that had the Rays on their heels. 3 or 4 stolen bases the first couple of games of this series. He was running at will. Not running gets himself into trouble.
Two and two. A lot of base running errors come because you run until somebody tags you out. And here's a case where he was out because he didn't run.
Yeah, the only thing that you can think of is just did not account for the runner at first base. He played that like he was the only guy on.
Two, and that's going to be low. He did not go for the change. And a full count.
Well, he had seen a number of those early in the at-bat.
Three-two, shot foul up the right side. So it comes down to a key pitch right here, 3-2. With runners at first and second. Wanks at second. Vergara, the runner, at first. And a turn, but nothing doing back at second. Martin stepping back. He has time granted. Martin returning to the lineup last night, went 0 for 4. He's 1 for 3 today. And the 3-2 pitch. Fouls it again.
Well, now you've sped him up with 2 straight fastballs. This would be the opportunity to come back with that changeup. Swing mode, 2 heaters. A little change of speed here. End this inning.
3-2. Pop down the left side. Headed toward foul territory. Longoria on the run. Oh, does it get? Evan Longoria, what a grab to get down there and then make that sliding catch with his back to the infield. A superb play by Evan Longoria to end this inning. The top of the 8th with Texas leading the Rays 2-1, and this could be a very, very big play in this game.
Well, look how far he had to go. And he goes down with the slide, the reach, a tough angle, and one heck of a play by Evan Longoria, the Gold Glove third baseman.
Well, you win games with your bat and with your glove, and Evan contributing both ends here.
What about the range on the corners?
Yeah.
For the Rays today between Forsythe's catch and Evan Longoria's catch.
Jake Smolinski enters the game at left, and Peguero moves over to right. Carlos Peguero goes left to right. And Kevin Kiermaier leads off against the right-hander Tollison. Late on the fastball, strike one.
Tollison deliberate with his mechanics. The fastball explodes, mid-90s. You can see by that delivery right there, a max effort type of guy. Big strikeout numbers, but also prone to the long ball, and that ERA right now sitting over 5.
Well, Kiermaier got one off him in the 8th inning of Thursday's game when the Rays fell 1 run short. Kiermaier starts to go, and he went around on the appeal. 0-2.
No argument from Kevin. He goes down for that low pitch, just a little bit too far.
It's 2-2. Rene Rivera next, and then the top of the order due up. Tollison had a couple strikeouts, gave up the leadoff home run to Kiermaier in the 8th Thursday. Finished by striking out Loney and Forsythe. Line drive and a base hit. Rays have the leadoff man on. Big turn by Kiermaier, and he hangs on to the single. Well, the Rays managed to keep it a 1-run game in the top of the 8th, and now they have the leadoff hitter aboard in the bottom of the inning. And that's his mother, Chris. In fact, the bat he's using has her name on it. And there's a base hit.
Even she gets nervous at the wide turn.
Rene Rivera. The ball, no strikes.
You've got speed to burn on the base paths. Leadoff man aboard. Tollison's going to have to pay attention to him. You hope that pays enough to him that he gives Rivera a pitch out over the plate. You can already see there's always that threat because of Kiermaier's speed.
All game, bottom of the 8th. A man aboard. Tollison again to first on Kiermaier. Rivera bat out over the plate, gets it back, and the count is 2-0. Geyer on deck. And again, a move to first. Kiermaier continues to be on the mind of Sean Tollison. Rivera puts down the bunt, and it will be foul. 2-1. Rays trying to bunt Kiermaier into scoring position. Texas with a couple runs, 8 hits. The Rays picking up a hit here in the 8th. They had a couple hits and a run in the 6th. Rivera puts down the bunt. Collison will have to go to first. So the Rays move Kiermaier up to second base. They'll have a couple shots to try to get him home.
Rene Rivera doing his job. Move the runner. Small ball. Get the head of the bat out. Drop that thing down into fair territory. You see him get out and around that baseball. Make sure that thing ends up fair. Take your route and now take your shots.
Mike Maddox heads to the mound, the pitching coach, with David DeJesus announced as the pinch hitter for Brandon Guyer.
Well, a good experienced hitter here, understanding the situation, understanding what he wants to do, a guy that will stick with the game plan. And the Rays have a couple of options coming off the bench. You got James Loney lurking also.
DeJesus always gives you a good at bat up there.
Some hitters, they've got a plan, what they want to do. You know, do I have a history with this guy? How does he pitch me? This is what I'd like to do or what I'm going to look for. And they go up there and a pitch or two into the at-bat. The game plan just kind of goes away. David DeJesus able to stick with it. And that's what gives him those good at-bats.
Kiermaier opened with a base hit. Rivera bunted him over. DeJesus hitting for Guyer.
You talk about having a plan with runners in scoring position. 6 out of 11 and 3 walks.
The pitch is on the corner for a strike.
Well, we've seen David DeJesus heating up recently, hitting the ball the other way. The Rangers well aware of that. They start him in right on the corner. Tell you what, he's got a lot of room to work over there too. Adrian Beltre well off the bag at third, but you've got Elvis Andrus who shading up the middle. A lot of room.
Start by Kiermaier to look back there by Thomason.
And a lot of concern. Well, you know, that part of that is Kiermaier's speed. The fact that if you are going to steal third, this would be the time to maybe go if you were going to. And Beltre way off the bag, so it'd be a foot race to the bag. Trying to keep him close.
And a soft strike. Off speed, runs it to 0-2. Going from one extreme to the other, one pitch to the next there.
Yeah, mid-90s up and in, 78, 79 down and away.
And a turn, nothing doing. Kiermaier back to the bag with Andrus breaking in that direction as well.
It's so hard to have that much attention paid to a base runner at second and continue to make quality pitches one after the other to the plate. 2 for 2 so far.
DeJesus stepping back. And the pitch. Oh, strike 3 call. Boy, Tollison gets him looking. You talk about some precision. Tollison put it on display there.
93. I'll tell you what. He started him fastball in, mid-90s, changeup down and away, upper 70s, and then right back to fastball in. That was a heck of a sequence, on top of the fact that he's paying so much attention to Kiermaier back at second base. That was well done by Sean Tollison.
Steven Souza Jr. He hits one back into center field. Martin on the run, cutting to his left, makes the catch, and that will end this inning. Rays leave a man at second. We go to the ninth. 2-1 Texas. Postgame presented by Checkers. Todd DeRustis will anchor the coverage. We'll have the press conference with Kevin Cash, and Emily Austin will have interviews from the clubhouse. David DeJesus in left field now. Carlos Corporon leads it off, and the pitch is down. 1 ball, no strikes. Frieri came on, got the last out in the 8th on that great running catch. It turned into be a sliding catch by Longoria. Covered a lot of ground to get back there on the pop foul by Martin. Now Frieri has fallen behind Corporon, 3-0.
Well, it was the walk in the 8th that really hurt the Rays. Let's not start out the 9th that way.
It's really, quite frankly, amazing that the Rays gave up just 1 run in that 8th. You look at 3 walks and a single, and the Rangers get just 1 run.
That was the base running gaffe of Delino DeShields. You can thank for that.
Well, the count is full. Corcoran fouls it.
And more than likely in that situation, if he runs into third on that ground ball by Blanks, they're probably not going to be able to turn the double play the way that the ball was hit and how far deep Evan was. And so now you got first and third with 1 out, with a chance to go up at least 3-1, maybe even more than that, like you said. But Rays fortunate. Will they be able to take advantage? We'll see.
On the bottom of the 9th, the Rays will have Longoria to lead off. Forsythe and then Butler do.
You got to figure you're going to see James Loney.
Texas right now with a 2-1 lead, a full count on Corcoran. And ball 4. Friere walks the number 8 hitter. Brandon Gomes up in the bullpen. Adam Rosales, the hitter, up, and he talks with his third base coach. Tony Beasley came down the line. So Rosales now settling in at the plate. Cut and a miss. Rosales opening early there and missing the slider.
Well, I think Rosales is thinking, okay, they think I'm going to bunt. I just met the third base coach, going to throw a fastball, let me do my thing. And boy, he leaked, was trying to ambush that pitch by Friere, and smart with the Rays going with the breaking ball.
Strike 2. Jake Smolinski is on deck. He's in the spot originally occupied by Chu. And strike 3 call. Rosales caught looking for the first out.
Some really nifty breaking balls by Friere. This one he starts in, breaks it right to that inside corner and at the bottom of the zone. Not much Rosales could do.
Jake Smolinski will be the hitter, and Jim Hickey heads to the mound. Chu, while he was in there, had a couple of 2-base hits, was 2 for 4, and now Friere and Hickey talk about Smolinski. There's a strike. And after getting Rosales on 3 pitches, first pitch strike to Smolinski. He has a home run with 5 runs batted in, hitting 143 for the year. And a foul straight back into the upper deck. And with that fastball and a foul ball, the count is 0-2.
Well, he's shown pretty good command with that slider here, and now being up 0-2, I would take that, the first pitch that he threw him in this at bat, and come back with that slider just a little bit further away. See if he will chase.
Well, he throws in the slider and he takes it down. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Now, the whole key with that pitch in those kind of counts is you want that ball coming out of your hand, appearing to be in the strike zone. And as the hitter starts to make his decision on whether to swing or not, that's when it starts its break, and then it's too late.
High foul down the left side. Still a 1-2 count. Odorizzi 6 2/3 of 1-run baseball. Cedeno a third. Jepson 2/3. He gave up the second Texas run. Now it's Friere. and a miss. Fastball strikes out Jake Smolinski.
Jake Smolinski got long in the stride, long in the swing, and the fastball up. You see the foot coming up, reaching out. Can't catch up. Middle of the plate, just above the belt. That wasn't even that far up.
Now it's Elvis Andrus, the shortstop. And a first pitch slider for strike one. Into the bat, cue foul, 0-2. It was Andrus who opened the eighth with a walk after falling behind. He was down 0-2. And then worked an 8-pitch at bat with a walk, and he scored the go-ahead run. Fly ball back into right. Souza Jr. to the track for it. Texas out in the ninth inning. So the Rays will come in for their final shot in the bottom of the ninth, and Evan Longoria will lead it off. And 2 to win it. They'll have the middle part of the order due up, and they'll face the closer for the Texas Rangers, Neftali Feliz. He'll be making his 13th appearance.
4 for 6 in saves, more than a strikeout per inning pitch, but has given up a home run and 5 walks, and has to go through the middle of this Rays lineup. And you got a feeling that James Loney is going to see him at some point too. So capable sticks coming up here. You need one.
Feliz picked up the save in the 5-4 Texas win on Thursday. But he got DeJesus, Butler, and Beckham to end it. Here's Evan Longoria to open the bottom of the ninth. No ball, no strikes. Evan came within inches of giving the Rays the lead with a line drive in the 6th inning, caught by Andrus, and he turned it into a double play. Now 1-1. Off the plate, 2 balls and a strike. Evan 1 of 5 in his career against Feliz. Logan Forsythe on deck. popped into right field. Figueroa coming in, and he's got it for the first out.
Well, he kind of lulled him to sleep there with a few breaking balls, and then the fastball kind of jumped on Evan a little bit, wasn't able to get the head out.
Forsythe 0 for 3. Represents his numbers for his career against this right-hander. 0 for 3. The pitch is down and away. You saw a glimpse there of James Loney on deck. Loney preparing to bat for Butler. Fastball quickly in there in the mid-90s. 1-1. Off the plate a bit. 2-1. Texas won game 1 5-4. The Rays won game 2 8-2. Won last night 7-2. And they trailed 2-1 in the bottom of the 9th of this game. 3 balls and a strike. Line drive into right. Figueroa cutting across. He'll have to play it on one hop. Forsythe with an aggressive turn, and he hangs on at first. So the Rays get that base runner with 1 out as Forsythe delivers his first hit of the game. And that will get James Loney up.
Now a count in your favor will free up that swing. And Logan Forsythe staying inside that pitch. We've seen him do that too, as he swung a nice bat for the Rays here in the early part of the season, staying inside the ball. Base runner here.
So now it's James Loney to bat for Butler. Loney just one official at bat in his career against Phillies. He's 0 for 1. And to the backstop, down to second base goes Forsythe. Boy, he unleashed a fastball there that skipped all the way to the base of the stands. That's a wild pitch. Corcoran didn't have a chance to try to get over to that one on a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. Oxberger up in the bullpen. Loney a cut and a miss. So the tying run at second base with 1 out.
James Loney taking a shot to try and end this thing right there.
Rays had a man at second with 1 out in the 8th and left him there. Now man at second, 1 out in the 9th. That's too low. 2 balls and a strike. Cabrera on deck. fouled back of third. That's out of play. Takes the count to 2-2. Boston beat the Blue Jays in Toronto. Buchholz the winner and Dickey the loser. Here the Rays down to their final 2 outs with the potential tying run at second. Going to fall for a base hit. Forsythe had a difficult time getting a read on that ball, and he can advance only to third. He wasn't sure if that was going to be caught by Martin or not. So Loney singles, and Forsythe advances to third.
Well, buried in there with his head. Just shoot that ball. Give yourself a chance. And it's happening right out in front of Logan. And you're right, that ball floating up there. A little late on the read, a tough read. Sees it's going to bounce, and now first and third with 1 out.
And Loney's reading it.
Yeah. A lot of times you see fielders get fooled by the swing and the trajectory of a ball off the bat. There you had a base runner. Same thing.
Well, you don't want to end the game by being doubled off if you're out there in scoring position.
Yeah, you're going to be cautious for sure.
Mike Maddox breaking up the conference out there on the mound. As Drupal Cabrera will be the hitter. First and third, 1 out. Cabrera has never had a hit off Feliz in 6 at bats, 0 for 6 with 3 strikeouts. And 0 for 2 with a walk today. Cut and a miss on the fastball.
A little bit late on that swing, too. I would expect that Feliz is going to come right back with a heater. Try to get that pitch away. Cabrera is going to have to speed up that swing just a little bit.
And a cut and a miss. He went up with the fastball, and Cabrera trying to get it started a little earlier.
And that's what you can fall victim to. You're absolutely right. After that first fastball, realizing that he's going to have to dial it up a little bit here, he ends up chasing out of the zone. And I would expect that Feliz is going to just continue on with the idea of the heater. And now at 0-2, he can try to climb that ladder, stay up there around the letters.
And a cut to miss. 3 fastballs, and he strikes out Cabrera. That one at 96.
You're never sure how you're going to finish an at-bat, but after the first swing by Cabrera, Feliz says, I'm just going to stay with mid-90s, and he was able to beat him up 3 times.
Well, 2 outs, and here is Tim Beckham. Beckham did get a look at Feliz Thursday night. He ended the game on a comebacker to the mound. So he's up here, 2 men on, 2 men out in the 9th inning today, and into the dirt, and it's somehow saved by Corcoran.
I'm going to tell you something. That was an unbelievable save. As soon as this ball left the hand, ready to cheer almost, a run coming home. And look at him get out with the glove and the hand and keep that in front. He couldn't do that. I mean, look at that. The chances that doesn't ricochet back anywhere but right there. What a play.
A ball, no strikes, the count to Beckham. Now strike at 97.
And let me ask you this. How much confidence does Feliz have to come back with another slider? He choked that one off. Corcoran saved his backside. Then he comes there with 97.
And a fastball again at 97.
And you know what? If you got the confidence to throw that pitch in that location at this velocity, you don't need to go to the slider. I mean, that's just perfectly located, 2 in a row.
One and 2 the count. And a foul ball as he stays alive. Fouling 97 up the first base side.
You're down to your last strike, and he has dotted up a couple of fastballs in great spots. And Tim Beckham, a nice job of going out there to spoil that pitch. You know, early in the year with 2 strikes, this kid not afraid, and he's come through in some big spots down in the count. Finds himself in that situation again.
Forsythe at third. Loney at first. Way up. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's trying to get one to the backstop.
Rays down by a run and down to their final out. A 2-2 count to Tim Beckham. And he bounced this one, staying alive. More heat.
And has not gone back to that slider that he started him off with. He just stays 96, 97. This one just off the glove of Corcoran. Beckham continues to battle.
Forsythe singled. Wild pitch to second. Went to third on the looping single by Loney. Again, the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to third. Beltre to second. And this game is over. Beckham ends it. And a ground ball to Beltre, who gets the force play on Loney at second base. And the Rays divide this 4-game series with Texas. A couple of 1-run losses for the Rays in this series. They dropped this one 2-1 for the Rays in the 9th inning. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 men left. And here is the final out.
Well, Tim Beckham got the head out, hit this ball hard, but he hit it right at the Gold Glover down at third. And Beltre leads Rosales right to the bag. And that's going to bring this 9th inning rally to an end and the ball game.
So the series split right down the middle of 2. Rangers win this one 2-1. Killer the winner, 3-1. Felice a save, his 5th. Jepson the loser. His record is 0-2. Yankees come calling to open a 4-game series tomorrow night. Our coverage begins at 6:30. For Brian Anderson and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome. Rays Live, the postgame, comes your way next.